Hey guys, in this video I got my friend John here. We are going to talk about married life in the Philippines. Stick around. All right, so John, thanks for joining me. We're here at the Promenade Tom and Tom's, which is one of my favorite places because look at it, it's like so quiet here.
It is. Very nice place.
Yeah, we are in the hot sun. That's the one negative, I suppose. So John, we were talking before, and you're from the United States,
Correct?
and you were married 24 years to an American girl,
Yes.
and you guys ended up moving to Hawaii
Right, about 13 years ago.
13 years ago, and we won't get into a lot of details, but after 24 years, divorce ended, and when did you start coming out to the Philippines? You said you've been out here about 8 or 9 times.
Yeah, I would say my first visit to the Philippines was approximately 6 years ago. I had
Okay.
some friends in Hawaii that traveled throughout Southeast Asia.
Okay.
And I wasn't dating one seriously at the time, and they're like, "Hey, you should go to the Philippines. Check it out. Go there for vacation one year and just see how you like it." And
Okay.
I did. I booked a trip. I think it was March of 2015, and came out here in May for almost 3 weeks. I think it was like 14, 16 days, something like that. So I came out here for almost 3 weeks and just went all over the place. Was all by myself and just had a wonderful time.
And when did you meet your current wife?
Well, knowing that I was coming over here by myself, I didn't want to just blindly start meeting, ladies over here. So we had met online
Okay.
and actually communicated quite a bit from March until May before I came out here.
Okay.
And it was, nothing serious, just a dinner date set up.
Okay.
And that was at the beginning of my trip when I first arrived in the Philippines. And I left. We were in Makati when I was staying in Makati when I first got here, and then I was traveling different destinations thereafter. So we spent some time together, and then towards the latter part, the end of my trip, we got together again, and had a few dinners, and it just really took off from there.
Do you have a favorite spot in the Philippines? Like,
I have visited all over for getting away. At the time I was single, so for partying, Angeles, I had a great time there. Played some golf there. Really enjoyed that. I love to golf. Really, right now, my favorite part is where we're living now. I absolutely love Lapu-Lapu.
you do.
And Cebu.
Okay.
But being in Hawaii for 13 years, there were things that we really grew to like and love, such as the outdoor life. I mentioned golf. I have a 4-year-old daughter and a 2-year-old son with my wife, and we love the beaches. We love getting out, playing in the water, fishing, snorkeling. My daughter's a little water bug. She's 4 years old and swims better than most adults. And we just really like that outdoor type lifestyle that we were accustomed to in Hawaii. And when we started researching where we wanted to live in the Philippines, Cebu was very attractive to us because it offers a lot of what Hawaii offered us.
Okay. Now, 24 years married to an American woman. How many years married to Filipina?
It'll be 5 in September.
5. What are some differences that you notice? Some noticeable differences between an American and a Filipino wife?
Wow. Where do I start with that? I don't. I think if a Filipino woman really falls for you, it is really into you. I tell everyone I was one of the lucky few. I think. You've discussed dating Filipino women in your videos before.
Yeah.
And I spoke to several before I came out here, and my wife was probably one of the only few that at some point in time never asked to send money over for a load for a phone or, I need something like that. She was never like that. She was, I think Filipino ladies are very much less materialistic than American
sure.
ladies. You know, they're much more family. Family is much more important to them than a brand name bag or brand name clothes.
Yeah.
That to me would be the biggest difference. The loyalty, once they, once you're their guy, that's it. There's, you don't have to worry about sneaking around or anything like that. I think the loyalty factor is very big there between a Filipino woman.
We change up the location to get out of the sun, and there's some music going on. So, um, are you? Those are some noticeable differences. What about anything else? Do you find that they're more caring, or
I think so. More caring, and I hate to use old terminology, but I think like maybe how American wives were back in the 50s and 60s.
right?
They're very loving on their husband. They're very
Doting.
doting. Yes,
Yeah.
that's a good word. Good word. Yeah, and it's
What about you? Had a son or more than one child with your American wife?
Yeah, I had one child with my American wife. He's 33 years old and is currently living on Big Island in Hawaii.
Do you notice any differences as far as taking care of the kids? Like when you were you changing diapers and helping feed the baby and all that kind of stuff in the U.S. when you were a
I
father?
would say yeah, but I would definitely say more so now. More so with my
now.
4-year and my 2-year-old. We both worked when my first son was born, and
True.
after he was born, my wife at the time stayed home pretty much full time after he was born, at least for the first 6 months, I want to say. I felt like I did my share. I wasn't, one of these guys, I'm never going to change diapers. I felt like I did
Sure.
my share with him. We were fortunate enough to usually have relatives, her mom, my mom, grandmothers, people like that visiting, and they were a big help. They were a big help at that time, and that was one of the struggles we had in Hawaii is, my daughter moved there when she was 4 months old from the Philippines. She was born here.
Okay.
My younger son was born there and had little to no family support. My older son lived with us at the time, and he was great with helping with babysitting and things like that. But as far as the day-to-day needs of a child, it wasn't like we had mothers or grandmothers or aunts or cousins around to help us out. It was pretty much just me and her.
Do you see any noticeable differences with being a mother from your ex-wife to a Filipino wife? Like the way they.
Not a lot. I think being a mother is the most important thing in my wife's life right now. Where maybe before being a wife was. And not that I'm getting ignored or anything. I love it. I think it's great.
Sure.
But she is the most loving, caring mother could ever be.
Do you see differences though between an American mom and a Filipino mom?
Well, I
the way
don't like
they-
to pigeonhole people. I think different moms in America are
Sure.
different, just like
True.
here. But my first wife was very loving and caring for our son, so
Yeah.
I don't see a tremendous difference there. No. Now, other situations could be different. Different people have different situations, but she was there to care for his needs, and was always loving and singing songs to him and things like that. And the same with my current wife.
Your wife's family, are they nearby? Or are they far away?
Not that far. They're about an hour south of Bacolod. So, we can go get on a plane here, be in Bacolod in 20 minutes, take a bus or, rent a car and be at their house. And, that was a big thing, a big motivating factor when moving to the Philippines is, I want to have that comfort so she can visit her relatives often.
Sure.
But also for my kids. I want my kids to grow up knowing their grandparents and not seeing them once a year when we fly from the United States to the Philippines. I want them to be able to go spend some time with them, weeks at a time. And they love it, the grandparents. My wife's parents absolutely adore our kids. And so when they come visit, unfortunately, about 2 years before I moved to Hawaii, both my parents had died. So my kids will never be able to know them. And that's I really hate that. But I wanted to provide every opportunity for them to know the rest of their family, their cousins, their
Sure.
aunts, their uncles, grandma, grandpa, things like that.
Now, a lot of people approach your kids and say, "Oh, they get very excited over mixed kids here."
Yes.
Does that happen a lot to you, where they want
Very
to
often,
pinch their
very
face?
often. We have a joke.
Yeah.
As you know, when you walk outside subdivisions, your apartment building,
Yeah.
sure, you go to the grocery store, but you have your markets where you get your
Sure.
fish and things like that. And
Yep.
so my wife was out at the market one day, one of the little roadside stands, and had my son with her.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you'll see pictures later on, but my son is the spitting image of me. It's like he jumped out of my pocket. He looks a lot like me.
Okay.
And my wife's big joke is she'll talk to these local older Filipino ladies and see my son, and they're like, "Oh, his dad foreigner, and she'll like look him right down and go, "No, his dad's Filipino." And the ladies will look at them so
Yeah.
strange because it's very obvious that his dad is a foreigner.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But yeah, they gush over our kids, and I
Right.
think I've got. Sure, I'm prejudiced, but I've got two very beautiful children.
Yeah.
So they have their mother's skin, thank God.
Right.
So that when they get in the sun, they
don't burn.
They turn brown. Daddy has the lobster skin. Probably you might have to edit this video for the brightness of the sun on my face.
I hear you.
When we finish, but yeah, Daddy turns into a lobster. They turn into these little brown goddesses and gods. Yeah, they're very, very fortunate to have mommy skin.
Now, did you marry in the Philippines?
I did. We got married at my wife's province, Labacao is what it's called. It's near Cabancaland.
Okay.
And I
Is that
still...
Mindanao?
No. Negros Occidental.
Oh, Negros Occidental.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But like I say, it's about an hour drive south of Bacolod.
Okay.
But I still hold the distinction of being the only foreigner married in her church.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
In fact, it's a very small village that they live in, and she said when I came there, when I first visited there, that some of the kids there was the first foreigner they'd ever seen, besides on TV or something. Yeah, so got a little celebrity status there.
Now, does your wife get jealous? Because that's pretty common in the Philippines. They get jealous if a Filipino will look at you or pay attention to you, or she's not really too jealous?
I would say it was never really bad. It was never like a problem. I would say it was worse when we were first married or we were first dating.
Right.
Than it is now. She's like,
now she's got you.
Yeah,
so
it was like I was a brand new pair of shoes. You didn't want to scuff them. Well, I'm like an old pair of boots now. She's like, I don't care. Look at them.
Was it hard to get married in the Philippines? What kind of a process?
Really, the only thing I had to do legalize is I had to set an appointment with the U.S. Embassy.
Okay.
I flew in on a Thursday night. I landed in Manila at 10 o'clock. That Friday morning, I had a prearranged appointment at the U.S. Embassy in Manila at 7 a.m. And all I had to do is go there and show, there's a terminology for it. I don't know if it's possible, but I had to show my divorce decree.
Okay.
That I was legally divorced.
That you were free and
Right,
able to
exactly.
legally get married.
After that, I came to my wife's province where we, knew we were getting married at, where the wedding was going to be held. There's it escapes me right now, but there's another word for it. It's like a 8-hour all day, for lack of better terminology, marriage class
Okay.
that you have to go through at the local municipality there.
Was this a Catholic wedding?
No, it's a Baptist wedding.
Baptist wedding.
But this was like a civil requirement, not a religious requirement.
Okay.
So I really got lucky there, Tio, because we go there, and the day of the class, it's me and my wife, and I want to estimate around 10 other couples. And the lady saw that I didn't speak Tagalog, and so she took us in her office, and she's like, look, this is supposed to be an 8-hour class, but if we have to translate everything to you in English, it's going to turn out to be about an 11-hour class, and we don't want that for everyone. It's a hot day. So long story, we did about an hour interview and we were out the door and I'm like, thank
Perfect.
God, I'm glad I didn't learn Tagalog too early. But yeah, we got it and, they just want to make sure it's legit.
Sure.
I think that's the main thing, that it's not done for political or citizenship reasons or anything like that. That's really one. The marriage part was, that was fairly easy. We got married in September. It did take until December to get that official copy of your marriage license.
Right.
That the government recognizes, not the one that you get on your wedding day. And once I got that, I was able to start processing the spousal visa work for her to come to Hawaii.
Okay.
And that started the first week in December when I actually submitted my first paperwork. She received her visa to travel the following September.
Okay.
So it was a long, drawn-out process. A lot of paperwork.
A lot of
paperwork.
But I think that's the best route to go if you have the time and the ability to come back and forth to visit your wife.
Oh, yeah. I was during
that.
that period, I came back probably 4, maybe 5 times.
Right. Well, her family gets to be present for the wedding.
Right.
The wedding itself is going to be less expensive. The reception.
Definitely.
And then when she does get all the paperwork is processed, she already has the green card.
Yeah.
Versus, or almost, right?
Well, she had the visa.
The visa.
Then she has to, once she got in Hawaii, she had to do an interview with United States Immigration in Honolulu, and then she got the green card.
But from my understanding is if they fly to the U.S. or wherever, the fiancé visa, and then you got to do all the paperwork, and the green card comes much, much later.
Right. So being that we were married already before she moved there, I think it definitely expedited the process.
For sure. So, okay. How expensive is a Filipino wedding? Did you have a small wedding, a big wedding?
I mean, I don't know what's considered a big wedding here. There were a lot of people there. I know that.
Yeah.
I honestly don't remember the exact dollar, Gio, but I would say if we would have done that with same wedding, same amount of people, same amount of food, same wedding dress, bridesmaid dresses, things like that, it would have cost at least 5, if not more, 5 times more in Hawaii.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Sure. I want to say in and out the door, everything. I want to say $3,000, $4,000 maybe.
That's how much the wedding dress would cost.
Yeah,
in the
that's
US,
just the wedding dress alone in Hawaii. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and you haven't rented the venue or bought the food or anything like that.
Yeah.
So, we certainly, did what we could. Like, we bought the pigs. I didn't go through a restaurant or a caterer.
The family set
we
it all
bought
up.
the pigs. The family, her dad and uncles cooked the pigs for us the morning of the wedding. And,
fantastic.
We had done a little celebrating the night before.
Yeah.
Little pre-party partying with the Tanduai. And one of the worst ways to ever be woke up is at 4 o'clock in the morning when they're cutting a pig's throat and you hear that squeak.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there with a little bit
It's like
of
a human scream.
It is. It
yeah.
really is. It's one of the most wretched sounds you've ever heard
horrible,
in your life. It's like, can't you just pow in the back of the head real quick and short and sweet? But yeah, it definitely wasn't a sound I was ready for.
Yeah. So life is good for you.
It is. We love it. We really,
Awesome.
we definitely were not going to buy a residence when we first moved here because my wife had never lived in Cebu. She didn't know anything about it.
Sure.
And I'm like, what are the first couple years, 2 or 3 years, we have to move here, move there to find out our niche, where we want to plant our flag. Sure. And she absolutely loves Lapu Lapu. She has made some really, really good friends. Mm-hmm. Her and her girlfriends go to the gym together daily and work out together. Sure. I've actually lost 15 pounds since I moved here.
Excellent.
So we're eating healthier. That's one of the biggest difference I find here, Gio, is the quality of food.
Yeah.
They don't pump a lot of antibiotics and steroids and things like that in their food to mass produce like it's done in the U.S.
True.
My biggest joke is, a chicken breast here in the Philippines is that big. That's how big a chicken breast. A chicken breast shouldn't be that big.
Right.
Like you get in the supermarket in the U.S. So I think between living a much more active lifestyle, and eating healthier, eating better. You know, I think it's attributed to, you know, some weight loss I've been happy and glad enough to experience, and, you know, better physical shape.
Sure.
You know, just different things like that. Yeah.
So before we end it here, John, you have started a YouTube channel, is that correct?
I have. I was actually, and anyone who knows me know I am the most, what's a good word? I guess ignorant would be a good word when it comes to technical stuff. Computers, sure. I'm not a computer geek, so it's taken me a little bit longer to set it up than I thought, but I feel like I hit such a milestone today, Gio. I was actually able to go in and change the name of my YouTube page to the name that we wanted.
Here you go.
And go ahead and say it.
Yeah, please.
It's going to be called The Rogers. My last name is Rogers, so it's The Rogers Family Adventure. And we're going to take y'all with what we hope is an amazing journey of our adventures here in the Philippines. And once the pandemic lifts, we want to visit all throughout Southeast Asia. We're in a location of the world where I can visit some places that my wife wants to, places we never only dreamed of. You know, I want to go to Japan, Korea, Vietnam, Malaysia. My wife has never seen snow. So our first big trip, once travel restrictions open, is hopefully to the Winter Festival in Japan.
Excellent.
I've heard that's the awesome time. So yeah, we should be up and running this week. I just got the page started today.
Okay.
Hopefully by the end of the day, I'm gonna be getting some videos in my first video. Trust me, it's not going to be the professional quality that you see on Gio's videos, at least at the beginning. It may be a little bit rustic, but just be patient. And, you know, I want to just, you know, show you our life here in the Philippines and watching our two little kids grow up and enjoy.
And there'll be a link down in the description for John's channel. The one thing I did want to mention, you said you and your wife want to travel. Now, here I found that the Filipinos families absolutely would love to watch your kids while you go take a week and go to Malaysia. Am I right?
It is, and that's one of the, you know, again, one of the advantages of moving here that we didn't have in Hawaii. There was no one to watch the kids. Those kids, you know, my son, my 2-year-old, has come out of his shell, Gio, so much in the last 6 months. You know, I call him, he was a COVID baby. He was 4 months old when this thing started.
Wow.
And we were on lockdown. He wasn't, you know, where the opposite was when my daughter moved here. She was coming to the office with me every day. I had a playpen in her office, and she's miss talk a lot. We talk her. Nicole's never met a stranger. She has never met a stranger in her life. Where Marcus was really withdrawn and just wanted mom and daddy to hold him and things like that, and he has come out of his shells. I'm so glad of that. So come out of his shells so much since moving here, and is much more social and interactive. But yeah, when it comes to family, they're like, hey, drop them off, go to Japan for a week, you know, things like that. So that's going to definitely give us, you know, the opportunity and advantage to travel some that we just didn't have before.
All right, guys, on that note, we'll end it. Thank you so much, John.
Okay, Gio, thank you, buddy.
Thank you, guys. Don't forget to share, like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Wow! Come on, groove it over. I said, baby, I know you're on a roll. Sweet honey, let's take it real slow.